Sometimes thrift stores can offer unimaginable surprises. From historical finds to natural phenomena, these discoveries have perplexed experts and amateurs alike. Here we present a series of surprising events. These stories not only show us how unexpected the world can be, but also highlight the importance of each discovery for science and history. Number 1. You really have to be careful what you buy at a thrift store. Sometimes you find good deals, but there are times when you discover the most unusual things, such as a human skull. That's exactly what an anthropologist discovered while she was browsing the Halloween section of the Paradise Vintage Market Antique Store in Fort Myers, Florida, in 2023. Because of her profession, she knew that the skull she was seeing was nothing ordinary. Instead of being a simple decoration, it turned out to be a real human skull. Needless to say, authorities were contacted immediately. She called the Lee County Sheriff's Office and preliminary tests confirmed that the skull was human, with an estimated age of around 75 years. According to Lee County Sheriff's Office Captain Anita Ard, the skull had no signs of trauma and had not been preserved by suspicious means, ruling out criminal activity. So how did the skull end up in the thrift store? According to the store's owner, Beth Meyer, the skull was part of a storage unit purchased in 2022. She was as surprised as everyone else by the discovery, and he cooperated fully with the authorities. The anthropologist who found the skull suggested it could be Native American, opening up the possibility of returning it to a local tribe if this is confirmed. So, if you see a skull decoration, you may want to check if it is really fake. Number 2. In 2022, several beachgoers in Florida were perplexed when they saw a mysterious object sticking out of the sand. This object was an impressive 80 feet long, and none of the locals had any idea what it was. Fortunately, maritime archaeologists intervened. After examining the 80-foot-long object, archaeologists concluded that it was likely a 19th-century shipwreck that had long been buried beneath the Florida beach. Experts believe it could have been a cargo ship sailing near the Florida coast, possibly even crossing the Atlantic. The amazing thing is that, if not for erosion exacerbated by the past 2 hurricanes, the wreck would have remained hidden for decades or more. For now, the archaeological team plans to document and preserve the shipwreck as it is. Moving it would be expensive and could damage the structure, so it will remain protected by sand and sea. Number 3. On August 30th, 2023, researchers on the Seascape Alaska Expedition 5, launched by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, found something that immediately caught their attention at the bottom of the ocean, a golden sphere. This sphere was found 2 miles below the ocean's surface and measured about 4 inches in diameter. The NOAA team used a remotely operated vehicle to explore the depths, and during one of their dives, they found this bright dome-shaped object that stumped them. Initially, researchers thought the golden sphere was a dead sponge attached to a piece of coral, but it appeared that this golden sphere was no simple specimen. The researchers thought that this golden sphere could also be an egg capsule and believed that the classification of this golden sphere would finally be clear after obtaining it and analyzing it in the laboratory. But this was not the case. Despite close examination on the ship, scientists were unable to definitively identify the sphere. All the researchers could conclude was that the mysterious golden sphere is of biological origin, meaning it came from a living being. What living being, however, is the big question. Again, it can range from a shark or stingray egg to a sea cucumber or an unidentified species. We are yet to know the truth. Number 4. In October 2020, a family in Florida received an unexpected gift from their cat named Olive, a snake. But not just any snake, but one with 2 heads. Yes, you heard that right. The snake, a juvenile southern black racer, was brought to the family home by Olive, who left it on the living room floor. The Rogers family, initially shocked by the unusual find, named the snake. 2 has a condition known as bicephaly, where an embryo begins to divide into identical twins but does not completely separate, resulting in 2 heads on one body. Each head operates independently with its own brain, eyes and tongue, making coordination difficult, especially when trying to eat or escape from predators. Essentially, it's like having 2 brains controlling one body. There have been several cases of bicephaly in humans, and it is just as challenging for animals, if not more so. Given the challenge that bicephalic animals face in the wild, such as difficulties feeding and avoiding danger, Dose was taken in by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission to ensure he survived and hopefully lived his expected life. Number 5. For car enthusiasts, this vehicle might sound like a dream come true. In 2023, an explorer discovered a car in an abandoned barn. The car might surprise you, especially if you know a lot about vehicles. The explorer found a Jaguar E-Type Series 1, first shown at the Geneva Motor Show in 1961. The E-Type's debut was the automotive equivalent of dropping the microphone. Its sleek, aerodynamic design, inspired by the Jaguar D-Type racing cars that dominated Le Mans, looked like it was in motion even when stationary. The long hood, flowing lines and that unmistakable rear end made it instantly iconic. Enzo Ferrari called it the most beautiful car in the world. Now when Enzo Ferrari praises you, you know you've done something right. Unfortunately, this one needs some serious restoration to be considered usable. Number 6. Among Egypt's intriguing artifacts is a 10-inch tall statue called Nebo Sinu, which has baffled archaeologists and scientists alike. This statue displays peculiar behavior, apparently rotating on its own while inside a display case. Several attempts have been made to decipher the cause behind this enigmatic movement. A prevailing explanation suggests that vibrations from people passing near the exhibit may be responsible for the statue's movement and tremors. Notably, the video shows no evidence of anyone physically interacting with the figures. This slow, unexplained movement of a statue alone has an unsettling aura. What makes it even more intriguing is that this 180-degree rotation is a recent phenomenon, despite the statue's presence in the museum's collection for a staggering 80 years. Number 7. To start, in some parts of Costa Rica, there are large round rocks called stone spheres. About 300 of them are found on an island and near a river. They are believed to have been made by a group of people called the Diquias a long time ago. The Diquias lived in a place called the Great Turaba River Valley. This tribe was skilled in craftsmanship, creating beautiful objects from clay, bone and gold, as well as round stones of different sizes, some as small as a hand and others larger than an adult. The Diquias carved them by hitting them with rocks and then smoothed them with sand. When the Spanish arrived, they were not interested in these stones. In 1930, the United Fruit Company found them while clearing the jungle to grow bananas. These stones are a mystery, like another enigmatic discovery that has baffled documentary filmmakers. Number 8. In India, snakes have a unique and revered status due to their ancient origins and their association with the Hindu deity Shiva. This deep respect for these creatures is shown every year during the Nag Panchami festival, where thousands of devout people in villages gather to worship and offer food to the snakes in search of divine blessings. One family had an alarming experience with snakes in their home, including cobras and rattlesnakes, which moved everywhere, including in the bedrooms and kitchen. This was disturbing. In Pune, Maharashtra, it is unique that cobra snakes live in almost every house. Here, snakes are respected and are an important part of daily life. The residents take care of them, and surprisingly, the snakes move freely in the town without being harmed by the more than 2,600 residents. In some cases, cobras are considered members of the family. This special coexistence in Pune shows a deep connection between human culture and spirituality with these creatures. It is a living example of how humans can live in harmony with nature, respecting and fearing it at the same time, creating a unique and lasting bond. Number 9. When art and antiques collector Forrest Finn first revealed the existence of his treasure trove, the world wondered if it was all an ingenious ruse. Then, like something out of a mystery novel, the discovery unfolded at Red Mountain Pass, near Silverton, Colorado. This remote 20-mile stretch of land had been inaccessible for a staggering 19 days due to the Herculean task of clearing 60 feet of snow. It was Denny Burfdunk, a dedicated snowplow operator, who made an extraordinary find while removing snow and debris. He discovered a worn chest with bright colors that said, "Finn's Treasure." He opened it to find 4 copies of a 1970s children's book called Golden Jewels, plus albums by Jewel, Joan Baez and Glenn Miller, along with a photo of Ruby Hunter. But the biggest surprise was a 1970 Neil Diamond live CD featuring a previously unreleased manuscript signed by Forrest Finn. This manuscript added mystery and depth to the treasure, revealing layers of history and meaning beneath the snow over time. Number 10. Beneath the surface of Cenote Angelita in Mexico lies a captivating natural wonder, an underwater river. While this concept may be initially puzzling, it is a fascinating phenomenon that arises from the interaction of water with different densities. Imagine water with different densities as layers in a cake, with the denser water forming a distinctive layer beneath the less dense water. In Cenote Angelita, the presence of hydrogen sulfide in the water affects its density, creating an impressive underwater river that submerges 100 meters deep. Divers arrive through a cave 55 meters underwater and encounter a fascinating sight. Branches and foliage submerge, forming colorful banks along the river. It is an amazing example of nature, where water behaves in surprising ways. This underwater river is rare and found only in a few places in the world, showing the diversity and beauty of nature. Number 11. During the 18th and 19th centuries, European explorers ventured into South America and came into contact with the cultures responsible for creating shrunken human heads known as tsansas. The shrunken heads intrigued explorers, who traded with local Jivaro tribes for them as souvenirs. The ancient practice of making tsansas has deep symbolic and spiritual meaning for the tribes of the Amazon rainforest, located in northern Peru and eastern Ecuador. The Jivaro Indians used to participate in territorial conflicts, and after defeating their enemies, they decapitated their heads to turn them into tsansas upon returning to their settlements. Although this practice is no longer common, it remains culturally significant for tribes descended from the Jivaro, such as the Shure, or Hamisa and Aguaruna. These tribes believed that reducing heads would grant them the soul of the deceased person, giving them power and protection against similar fates. Tsansas were worn around the waist to demonstrate combat skill. Number 12. The fire at the Notre Dame Church in Paris was a tragic event that shocked the world on April 15, 2019. Notre Dame, considered one of the most famous and iconic churches in the world, suffered serious damage when a massive fire exploded and destroyed part of the structure, including the roof. The fire was a significant challenge for French firefighters and authorities, who worked hard to control the flames and save what remained of the historic structure. Despite the damage, much of the church and its treasures were able to be preserved thanks to the efforts of emergency teams. Restoration of Notre Dame began shortly after the fire, with the intention of returning the church to its historic splendor. Considerable efforts were made to raise funds and coordinate restoration work, which included rebuilding the roof and spire, which collapsed during the fire. During this process, 2 coffins were discovered in the church, each with ashes inside. One of these coffins is claimed to have belonged to a high priest named Antoine Delafort, and contained a large amount of hair. By analyzing these elements, scientists determined that Delafort was a habitual alcohol drinker. It is mentioned that the differences in the design of the TWA bed confirm that these people did not live at the same time. The second coffin contained the remains of an unidentified man, whose age is estimated to be between 25 and 40 years old. Some believe that this man belonged to a different era than Antoine, which has sparked the curiosity of many scholars who seek to investigate and explore to identify the ancient characteristics of that era in which these people lived. Number 13. Roman dodecahedra are mysterious objects with 12 flat faces that date back to Roman times. They were made from a copper alloy and appear on Roman coins, indicating their value. However, since the first one was found in 1739, its purpose has been an enigma. These objects are found in ancient sites in Northern Europe, and there are various theories about their function. Some think that they were decorative or served as candle holders, since they have been found with wax inside. Others believe they were used to measure distant things, such as fake coins based on size, or even to predict luck. A more recent theory suggests that holes of varying sizes in the dodecahedra could have been used to weave gloves around the finger and thumb. Although these theories exist, there is no direct evidence from Roman times to support them. Uncertainty persists as to the purpose of these Roman dodecahedra. Number 15. Berlin has interesting discoveries, and a fascinating story recently emerged from the ancient city of Pompeii. Pompeii was devastated 2,000 years ago by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, leaving behind a rich archaeological site. A new discovery reveals petrified skeletons, one of a nobleman and his slave. The nobleman, aged 30 to 40, retains traces of his coat, while the young slave, aged 15 to 20, shows signs of heavy work on his spine. These remains were found in an underground villa. The nobleman survived the initial fall of ash but perished in the next day's explosion due to thermal shock. Casts of other bodies found have provided valuable information about life in Pompeii. These findings connect us with the past and remind us of the tragedy caused by the eruption of Vesuvius. Number 16. Sports have always been very popular in entertainment. The excitement of supporting teams, tracking scores, and collecting memorabilia is unique. Interestingly, old versions of soccer games with LED lights, balls, and equipment have been around for centuries. Therefore, it is not surprising that ancient civilizations such as the Mayans, about 1,200 years ago, also participated in similar sports. Recently, archaeologists made an intriguing find: a round stone tablet that served as a marker in Mexico. The tablet shows 2 men playing a soccer-like game called pelota. The game is depicted on the edge of the circular tablet, alongside hieroglyphics believed to indicate markings related to the game. This heavy tablet, weighing more than 40 kilograms, was found almost half a kilometer below the surface. This discovery connects us with ancient societies and their passion for sports and competition. It could also provide information about how these civilizations enjoyed sports and kept scores. Who knows, maybe it will even help us better understand ancient games like ball and its rules.